I was not expecting this at all. If you haven't heard already, Bun is joining Anthropic. That means that Anthropic acquired Bun. So let's go over really quick what doesn't change and what changes, and then we'll go into how like the life cycle of Bun and everything like that. So what doesn't change? Bun will maintain its open source and MIT license commitment. Bun will be extremely actively maintained. The same team will still work on Bun. Bun will still be built in public on GitHub. Bun's roadmap will continue to focus on high performance JavaScript tooling, Node.js compatibility, and replacing Node.js as the default server side runtime for JavaScript. And this is another sort of affirmative thing. Claude Code actually ships as a Bun executable to millions of its users. So that means that if Bun breaks, Claude Code also breaks, which means that Anthropic has a direct incentive to keep Bun excellent. But here's what will change. Anthropic will help make coding tools like Claude Code and Claude Agent faster and smaller. We'll get a closer first look at what's around the corner for AI coding tools and make Bun better for it. And obviously, Bun will ship faster because they're getting a lot more resources from Anthropic. So we're going to quickly go over the Bun roadmap. So how Bun started, it was a Minecrafty voxel game in the browser running Next.js. The hot reloads for the Next.js dev server would just take like 45 seconds, and it was just really painful. So Jared Summer, the founder of Bun, was like, hey, I want to see if I can experiment with some of these JavaScript runtimes and if I can build something faster than that. So the first version of Bun was released in July of 2022. It was Bun version 0.1.0, and it was designed to be a drop-in replacement for Node.js. And it was also going to be like a test runner and a package manner, essentially an all-in-one type of. They ended up reaching 20,000 GitHub stars in the first week. That is insane. That's like if you would post something on Instagram and it gets 20 million likes within like 3 or 4 days. So those first 2 weeks after the release of Bun was some of the craziest weeks of Jared's life. His job switched around from writing code to replying to people all day long. And he took a salary and convinced a handful of engineers to move to San Francisco to help build Bun, which is super cool. Then, once Bun started to feel more stable, we shipped Bun 1.0 in September of 2023. Production usage started to pick up and they raised some more money. Then comes Bun 1.1. Up until this point, Bun has not had Windows support, and every day people were asking them the same question: when will Bun have Windows support? It's a very fair use case. I use Windows. So they added Windows support and called it 1.1. Our Windows support was pretty rough at first, but we've made a lot of progress since then. Then we see Bun 1.2 that had a bunch of improvements to Node.js compatibility, a built-in PostgreSQL client, and an S3 client. This is kind of when I jumped into Bun, and I was just blown away with it. They've also seen usage in production from companies like X and Midjourney, and Tailwind's standalone CLI is built with Bun. Then comes Bun 1.3. There was a built-in front-end dev server, a Redis client, a MySQL client, and several improvements to Bun install and improved Node.js compatibility. But the real feature was continued increasing production usage. Then AI started to get good. In late 2024, AI coding tools went from cool demo to actually useful, and a lot of them are actually built with Bun. Bun's single file executables turned out perfect for distributing CLI tools. You can compile any JavaScript project into a self-contained binary that runs anywhere, even if the user doesn't have Bun or Node installed. It works with native add-ons, it's fast to start up, and it's easy to distribute. Some examples of this are Claude Code, Factory AI, OpenCode, and others that are all built on top of Bun. Then Jared, the writer of this post, got obsessed with Claude Code. Over the last several months, the GitHub username with the most merged PRs in Bun's repo is now a Claude Code bot. We have it set up in our internal Discord, and we mostly use it to help fix bugs. It helps with PRs and all that stuff. That's what I use it for as well. This feels approximately a few months ahead of where things are going, certainly not years. Today, Bun makes $0 in revenue. One of the most common questions I get asked is sustainability. Questions like, how does Bun become a business? Or if I bet my work project or company's tech stack on Bun, will it still be around in 5 or 10 years? And the default answer for that, and this has kind of been known for Bun, is they'll eventually build a cloud hosting product that is vertically integrated with Bun's runtime and bundler. But the world that they first started working on Bun in is a different world than today. AI coding tools are a massive change to how developers do productive work, and the infrastructure layer matters more than ever when AI agents are writing code. So they've been prioritizing issues from the Claude Code team for several months now. Makes sense, they're probably one of the biggest users of Bun, and there are so many cool ideas and stuff like that, and most of these ideas are to help other AI coding agents. A few weeks ago, he went on a 4 hour walk with Boris from the Claude Code team. We talked about Bun, we talked about where AI coding is going, and we talked about what it would look like for Bun to join the Anthropic team. Then we did it 3 more times over the next few weeks. Then I did that with many of their competitors. I think Anthropic is going to win. This is interesting because it has almost vastly been talked about. It's like, is Anthropic going to win the DevTools race for AI coding? Because OpenAI and all these other companies like Grok and Gemini, they're good, and their LLMs have kind of like minute or like niche sort of applications in coding. But Anthropic, especially with Opus 4.5 that just released over like the past couple of weeks, has been absolutely killing it. It's been my daily driver. And I can agree with this. I think Anthropic is going to win just because they got in early with Claude Sonnet 3. So, betting on Anthropic sounded like a interesting path to be in the center of things, to work along the team building the best AI coding product. At the time of writing, Bun's monthly downloads grew 25% last month, passing 7.2 million monthly downloads. We had over 4 years of runway to figure out monetization. We didn't have to join Anthropic. Instead of putting our users and community through Bun, the VC backed startup tries to figure out monetization, thanks to Anthropic, we can entirely skip that chapter and focus on building the best JavaScript tooling. I think this is really good because that was always a worry with Bun, where it's a worry with any sort of open source, really great, non-monetizable VC-backed company, that you're like, I just want you to focus on providing a great developer experience and don't really focus on making money yet. So I think this is a great move by Bun and Anthropic, because Anthropic just shows that then they'll be able to kind of get into the weeds of developer tooling and developer CLIs, and Bun will still be able to focus on creating the best JavaScript runtime, bundler, and package manager. Why this makes sense. When people ask, will Bun still be around in 5 or 10 years? Answering with, we raised 26 million isn't a great answer. Investors, obviously, eventually need a return. But there's a bigger question behind that. What does software engineering look like in 2 to 3 years? AI coding tools are getting really good really fast, and they're using Bun's single file executables to ship CLIs and agents that run everywhere. If most new code is going to be written, tested, and deployed by AI agents, the runtime and tooling around that code became way more important. You get a lot more code overall, written and tested a lot faster, and humans are more detached from every individual line, so the environment it runs in has to be fast and, importantly, predictable. Bun started with a focus on making developers faster, and AI coding tools do a similar thing, so it's a natural fit. So that is why they're joining Anthropic. Anthropic is investing in Bun as the infrastructure powering Claude Code, Claude Agent, and their future AI coding projects. Interesting. I wonder if this is a little bit of a reach, but I wonder if they're teasing at maybe like a VS Code fork or something like that. Being a part of Anthropic gives Bun long-term stability, a home, and resources so people can safely bet their stack on Bun, front row seat to where AI coding tools are headed, and the most important part is, and more firepower. They're hiring more engineers, which makes sense. For existing users, the core premise stays the same. Bun will be open source, it will be built in public, the same team will still work on Bun, and they're obsessed with making JavaScript and TypeScript faster to install, build, run, and test. Anthropic gets a runtime that's aligned with where software development is going, and we get to work on the most interesting version of that future. This is going to be really fun. So yeah, that was the article. I think that's really interesting because, and it makes a lot of sense. When I first saw it, I was like, I don't really understand this, but after reading it, it makes a lot more sense because Bun has never been a company that has tried to extort its users with money or something like that. They've just been focused on building the best JavaScript runtime and sort of like the CLI part of it. And Anthropic has always been focused on developers. So I think their goals are aligned extremely closely, and that this was an amazing bet. But let me know what you think. Reply in the comments if you have another idea or if you don't think that this was a good bet. But until then, I'll see you next time.